He may look good. He may be. What's amazing to me is that these guys are well built. They all go to the gym, right, Alex? They all got abs, but they have no cerebrum.
They don't have the minds of men.
He's like zomboids walking around, wild, crazy children. This child's made to be only one thing, which is a tort lawyer. That's all he can grow up to be. And if he fails at that, he can become a government worker. But aside from the facetiousness, okay, discipline gone, society going, breaking down, at the top gangster regime, sucking us dry. Paul Ryan, first speech, highway bill, highway bill, highway bill. Who's in the highway building business? Who makes the trillions off the highway bill? Are you in the highway business? You don't
No, but Nancy Pelosi went into Congress worth about $500,000. Now she's worth hundreds of millions, and her husband suddenly became worth billions. She's a nice lady. Of course, I'm sure she's friends with Don Corleone.
Very nice. She's a sweet grandmother. And you know what's also nice about Pelosi is the fact that her brother-in-law got about a $1.2 billion loan from the government for a solar plant in the Nevada desert. And he did so well in producing about a megawatt of energy for it that they gave him another $800 million, according to what I've recently read. How come it's not in any of the newspapers? Have you ever seen corruption like this? Couldn't even go on today.
Yeah, what's wrong with Harry Reid giving billions in contracts to his sons? He's got like 4 or 5 of them. That's nothing. That shouldn't even be in the news. I mean, how dare you do your research? It's totally normal.
The Republican Party? There is none. It's a one-party system, oligarchy. All the conservatives that were put in last year were put at the back of the bus. Remember how much hope we had in November when I wrote Stop the Coming Civil War? I said, hold your nose, go vote for Republicans, and we'll put their feet to the fire after they win. Guess what? Boehner has no feet. McConnell has no feet. There's no feet to put on the fire. They're empty shells. They were never men. They were never there. They were factotums of Barry from Honolulu. One party, period. It is a fascist dictatorship. He wants to crush us under his fist. He is the worst monster in the history of America. And if he uses an executive order to go around Congress on immigration, we need 10 million people immediately demanding that an impeachment hearing be started, whether or not those cowardly, useless gangster Republicans do it or not. We need a people's tribunal.
The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. Now is the time to secure Ancient Defense for you and your family. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. That's ancientdefense.com. Break down why you're so proud of these filters.
Well, I mean, the Alexa Pure is really a culmination of all of my experience. It was posed to me as an extremely challenging project. They wanted a product that would actually operate without any electricity, so you had no pressure. You had to do it all by gravity, and they really effectively said, we need everything imaginable to be removed efficiently, way higher than 99%. And so the result was it's an extreme challenge. Worked on it for quite a long time. And basically what we've done is we created the only filter, to my knowledge, that hits all three. It will remove effectively all the major metals, all the major non-metals such as fluoride. It will take out all known microbiological threats, including viral, bacterial, and cyst. And it will take out organic chemicals of pretty much everything without exception. It's a very, very powerful device. I don't believe that there's anything else out there in the world that can do that, especially under gravity flow conditions. The fit and finish are fantastic. No compromise was made on the quality of the construction. So, I mean, it's really a remarkable achievement on their part, and I feel very proud, actually, to be part of the team that put that together.
What's your view overall on fluoride?
Well, okay, so we actually tested against both the fluoride ion and the fluorosilicate that you mentioned, which is the additive that people put into water under federal control. And basically, we removed both of them with equal efficiency. So we wanted to be sure that no matter how fluoride is added to the water, it can be intercepted and removed. So that's how we've dealt with that. All I can tell you is that we tested against all known fluoride chemicals that are added to water, the new ones and the old ones, and we removed them all of equal efficiency.
And it's your belief that this is the best gravity-fed filter of the design out there available to the public?
Without a doubt. I mean, most of these gravity flow filters are at best simple particulate filters. They remove dirt and debris, sediment. They're not going to be capable of intercepting a viral particle to the degree we're talking quantitative reduction below detection. No one can touch that kind of capability.
Well, I'm impressed, and I want to thank you so much for your time today. It is the Alexa Pure Pro family of water filtration systems available, discounted exclusively at InfoWarsStore.com. I want to thank Mr. Red Hawk for allowing us to be part of the launch of this. It's on sale right now for their main unit, $177. Leading competitors that aren't even as good are more than that. And they've also got the survival spring type straw system for survival that is an absolute must-have.
This slick BS artist, Barry from Honolulu, has done more harm to the world than Marx and Lenin put together. And he gets away with it for one reason, Alex. He doesn't shout like me. Have you ever heard Barry from Honolulu scream?
No.
Never. He is the smoothest con man in the history of the world. He makes Soros look like a chump. Soros, by the way, is behind breaking all the borders of Europe. You know that. With his open society. You know, Soros is who flooded America with marijuana. You know that. Now, many people like marijuana. I think it's one of the most toxic substances in the world. It is the road to addiction. It is a gateway drug. Who has made it suddenly so friendly? 10 years ago, I fought with one of Soros's minions on my radio show. Soros was the first to fund medical marijuana initiatives in Arizona and California. And I was arguing, are you people crazy? It's a gateway drug. You're going to hook a generation on drugs. We had this argument. It's history now. Marijuana is as friendly as candy corn. Everyone thinks it's a benign herb. It is not. So what does it have to do with Soros's master plan? The man is possibly the most evil genius on the planet, in my estimation.
Eric in Colorado wants to talk about Michael Savage and his comments in the last hour on marijuana. In fact, tonight on the Nightly News, we're going to air a clip of Michael Savage talking about marijuana, and I happen to agree with him in certain respects. But first, let's get the caller's take. Eric, go ahead.
Hey, sir. First off, I just want to say that you are a beautiful trans species, and I support your change. Yeah, I just wanted to go to that, what Michael said about it being a gateway drug, and that is actually a completely false narrative. That's a social engineered narrative. It's no more true than saying a couple of beers is going to force you to drink a handle of vodka every night. Do you know what telomeres are?
Yes, I do know what telomeres are in the DNA. Before we go there, he specifically was hitting the fact that George Soros is pushing hardcore weaponized marijuana that's like 90% THC when the strongest stuff used to be 25% max, and that many people then never develop, live in their parents' basement forever, and basically get brain damage from it. Marijuana is an amazing plant. It has thousands of different medical applications. It's right up there with things like aloe vera, maybe even more powerful, maybe one of the most versatile plants ever in pharmacia. So that's one debate. But then people that just smoke dope all day and push it and say it's a cure for this, a cure for that, when it's just a treatment for things, and a great treatment for a lot of things, glaucoma, you name it, they exaggerate and it becomes a cult. And so he was going at it from that angle. I'm against the drug war itself. I'm for decriminalization. But I think we should also talk about how destructive weaponized marijuana can be. Now go ahead and elaborate your point.
I think the destructive part of that would be the chemical processed forms of it. So like a hydroponic version where you're pumping chemicals into it. I mean, no different than any GMO product. But in its true base form, I mean, THC is not bad. higher values of THC will actually contribute to helping people rid of ADHD or any other type of...
well, there are some studies that it does a lot better than speed pills like Ritalin or other things that burn your brain out. It actually does help some people that are overactive minds. And a lot of that's if you get kids off red dyes, processed foods, sugar. That's the real answer. But sure, if you're going to drug them, in a lot of studies, it's been proven that low dosages of pure THC are better for children's brains than, say, something like Adderall. But, I mean, Adderall is absolutely hardcore amphetamine. And so I think comparing it to it is not fair. But I get your point. I hear what you're saying. But you have to also get the perspective of what Savage is talking about. I know that's a famous statement from the 30s. You know, it's a gateway drug in the 60s. But it probably is a gateway drug at certain levels. But the argument that it's a gateway drug, so let's put people in prison for it, is wrong. Let's not put anybody in prison for being a user. And let's admit some drugs have good applications if they're not abused. But at the same time, I don't think we then jump the other direction and fully endorse it. And I agree with Savage on why George Soros is so deeply involved in it.
Well, Vatican financial investigators suspect that a department of the Holy See, which oversees real estate and investments, was used in the past for possible money laundering, insider trading, and market manipulation.
Many people who are Catholic have asked why climate change is the #1 priority of the Vatican. Many would say the only priority of the Vatican. And at the same time, he's preaching to us about the morality of climate change, telling us that we need to change our economic systems. We need to have everything politicized. We need to make decisions politically about economics and about other things. In other words, socialism is what he's telling us, folks. In many different ways, he's made that very, very clear. At the same time, he's pushing socialism as a moral cause. At the same time, he's pushing global governance as a moral cause. We have this massive scandal that's going on within his own fiefdom, within the Vatican, within the small nation state. He can't even control, if he's not a part of it, he can't even control and manage the tiniest nation state. And yet he thinks that global governance is the solution, the moral solution to everything. It's exactly the opposite of what the founders of this country and all of us understand is the real problem. And let me just tell you some of the other issues that are part of this. Of course, there's two people that were arrested today, a senior priest and an advisor. These are people who were brought in to take a look at the murky finances, as they put it, in Reuters for decades. They were brought in to investigate the bank. It's called the Institute for Works of Religion. And also the administration of the Patrimony of the Holy See, the APSA, which acted as its own financial powerhouse. That's something directly under the Pope. Now, they're being investigated for money laundering, for insider trading, for market manipulation. Do you think that this Pope that the whistleblowers have alleged is selling beatifications, in other words, sainthoods? Do you think the Pope who is selling sainthoods, who is accused of money laundering, insider trading, market manipulation, do you think that the Vatican could be making some money off of pushing this climate change deal? Because somebody is going to have to be paid. We're going to have to pay our taxes to somebody. Some of it will go to a world government, but most of this is going to be an indulgence that's paid to Al Gore and to others, and perhaps the Pope is edging his way in there to get a piece of that indulgence. Now, one last example, and then I'll get Leanne's comments on this. From May 22nd, 2000 to March 29th, 2011. So for 11 years, a guy named Natino, who served on the board of many Italian firms, okay? This is a guy, a big guy in business. He's on the board of directors of a lot of Italian companies, but he volunteers as an usher in the papal palace, and he winds up being the owner of one of these papal accounts, the APSA Portfolio 339, which consisted of 4 separate accounts. And the report speaks of the, quote, dubious origin and dubious final destination of the money in the closing of Portfolio 339. So they brought these investigations to the Vatican's promoter of justice, kind of like their inspector general, I guess. The investigators asked the prosecutor to look into possible money laundering, insider trading, and market manipulation. Yeah, we should look into that when it comes to pushing global governance. And that's what they're going to be pushing at the the Paris conference that's going to be beginning in November 30th and going for the first couple of weeks of December. This is something that is very, very risky, Leanne.
Right, getting ready to rumble over these carbon